Thanks for coming out tonight. First of all, I'd like to thank Larry Benson and his staff and for allowing us to do this here and for putting us on. And I do appreciate that. I appreciate you all coming out tonight, taking time out of your busy evenings to come out here and listen to me. And the next thing is, and everybody here I'm sure knows, this is one of my pet peeves and one of my passions, and that is the animal shelter here in Tracy. I've been very involved with the animal shelter for several years now. When I was with Tracy Rotary, during the year that I was president with the Rotary Club, I made it my project for the year to go out and help clean up the shelter, and organize volunteers to go out there on a regular basis to clean up the greet area out there where people come out. I mean, the lawn was as high as your knees. Now, if somebody wanted to come out there and try a pet out and play with it in the yard out there, there was no way. I mean, there were probably hundreds of lost balls in that grass out there, and other stuff that you didn't want to step in. So, it needed to be cleaned up. It needed to be taken care of. And we got out and did that, and we started helping take care of some of the animals out there too. And that was a real eye-opener for me because, and at the time when we were doing this, Tracy was pretty much touted as not a no-kill shelter, but pretty close to it. I mean, the animal population was fairly low, that it wasn't a big issue. Well, things have changed now, and the population has grown as such that, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Jan, because you've been involved in this for some time, most animals that go out there now, they've got about 3 days, and they either get adopted or they go back to meet their maker, and that really bothers me, because I've gone out there. I can't even go out there now and play with animals because I know that they're probably not going to be there in the next few days. So we need to do something about that. I think it's a shame that we're not doing something to improve our shelter facilities, to make them better, and to take care of the problems that we have here in Tracy with animal control and with sheltering animals. With the downturn in the economy, there are a lot of people that are putting animals out on the streets. They're leaving them behind at their homes. Just recently in Modesto, I got a call from one of the realtors I deal with that was selling a home out there. Actually, they were evicting the people that lived there and doing a cash for keys kind of thing. And when they got out there, they told the folks that, we're sorry, you have to leave, and they had the sheriff's department out there and everything. And the people literally, they said, okay, we're ready. They grabbed all their stuff, put it in their cars and trucks, and drove off. And they left their dog in the dog run, chained this close to the fence out there, and just left him. No water, no food. And the realtor called me and said, what can we do with this? And I said, well, you know what? I happen to know somebody that might be able to help you out. And I had her call Jan, and Jan actually took the dog in for a few days and took care of it and was able to get it adopted out. But this is very commonplace. I've gone into homes that are vacant and have found dead animals inside of them that people have just left behind, and they put bowls of food and water inside the home thinking that, well, I guess the animal will survive until somebody finds them. And we've gone in to inspect the home and have found dead animals in there. And it's wrong. I mean, but you can also see why it's happening, because people are losing their homes, they don't have the money, they're losing their jobs, they can't take care of their animals, so they're taking desperate measures. And unfortunately, it's the animals that are paying for it. Or they turn them out on the street where they're getting hit by cars and trucks out the street in record numbers anymore. Animal control is out on a daily basis picking up injured and dead animals off the road in our city, and that's got to stop. There's no reason why we can't control this. I was involved this last year in October. The city manager invited myself and several other people in the community, citizens in the community, to come in and be part of a citizens advisory committee on a new animal shelter. And while it was informative, it kind of got me off into another area, and that is consultants and the use of consultants here in Tracy, or overuse of consultants. We went out to we went down to City Hall. We set in on 4 presentations, one night a week for 4 weeks. And they brought in some consultants that showed us some beautiful pictures of some beautiful shelters in the not so far away area around us. Pleasanton, I think it was Walnut Creek, places like that where they had built new shelters and done a beautiful job on it. But the thing I couldn't help stop thinking about while I was watching this presentation was that the 2 guys that were putting this thing on were probably being paid in consultancy fees the equivalent of 2 middle management employees in the city of Tracy for 1 year. And that was pretty sad, you know, that the money that was being spent to hire a consultant to come in to show you pictures of an animal shelter from a local area and give you recommendations, it's pretty sad. And it just so happened that right about that time, there was a guy who wanted to he does professional campaigning. Oh, did I mention turn off your cell phones? You know, there's always one person, it doesn't matter if you tell them or not.
Yeah, you can't have to be AC/DC phone too, doesn't it?
Well, at least it's a good tune, so. There was, yeah, exactly. There was a guy that called me from, it was either Ripon or Salida. I can never remember which town it was. But this guy does professionally, you know, he sets up campaigns and helps run campaigns for people, you know, throughout the country. And he called up and wanted to know if he could help out with the campaign. And I said, sure you can. If you can generate the money to pay your fees, you know, that's great. We'd love to have you. And he said, wow, you know, I don't know if I can do that. Well, I don't know if we can have you then. But anyway, he had been looking over the website and saw some of the issues, you know, that I was concerned about. And the animal shelter was one of them. And he said, have you ever seen our animal shelter out here? I said, no. And he goes, we have a brand new state-of-the-art shelter. And that just drove it home even more to me as to why, when the Citizens Advisory Group was put together, why the heck didn't we take a field trip out there and look at this ourselves instead of hiring somebody to come show it to us? Or why didn't we have our city officials who were tasked with finding alternatives to our shelter, why weren't they out taking pictures of it, and why weren't they coming back and telling us about it? We'll get into the thing about consultancy as my last item on here, but that was, you know, it was a wake-up call to me that, you know, we need a new shelter here in Tracy. There are ways to get it done. We had people, actually, we had a couple of contractors and engineers that were attending that group that had said, you know what, we would be glad to chip in and donate the time and effort and materials to get a new shelter going, and you know, or to make improvements to our existing shelter so that they're not only have a better and larger facility for animals to be in, but that we're cleaner and you know, we're less likely to spread disease, you know, amongst the animals that are out there. I mean, I could not imagine my own dog getting picked up and having to go pick my dog up at the animal shelter over here. And you know, I think I would be thankful for the fact that the dog made it to the shelter and didn't get hit on the roadway or something somewhere if she ever got out. But I would probably be living in fear that my dog is probably going to come down with something that's probably going to kill her anyway, just because of the amount of disease and problems that shelters tend to have when you put that many animals in that population. So we need to do something about that, and I'll feel a whole lot better when we start moving toward that and getting that accomplished.